You've probably heard it said, Jesus was just a good teacher, but is that all there is to it? It's a phrase that often echoes in the halls of popular culture. The notion that Jesus of Nazareth, the central figure of Christianity, was merely a moral teacher, a kind of ancient philosopher, dispensing wisdom on how to live a good life. This view, while comforting and simple, often encounters skepticism when the suggestion is made that Jesus was more than just a teacher. It's not uncommon to see a reluctance, a hesitance, a certain reserve when it comes to delving deeper into the true identity of this enigmatic figure from the distant past. Is it because the idea of a divine Jesus challenges our modern sensibilities? Or is it because we're comfortable with the familiar and wary of the unknown? Whatever the reason, it's clear that this perception requires a closer look. So now that we've examined the common perception, let's take a closer look at what the historical and biblical evidence tells us. History isn't just about dates and dead people, it's about stories that can help us understand who Jesus really was. Let's delve into the annals of time, beyond the boundaries of biblical text, to meet Jesus as depicted by observers of his era. Two such observers who offer valuable perspectives are the Roman historian Tacitus and the Jewish historian Josephus. Tacitus, a prominent figure in the Roman Empire, known for his meticulous historical accounts, made noteworthy references to Jesus. In his final work, Annals, he mentions a Christus who suffered the extreme penalty under Pontius Pilate during the reign of Tiberius. It's significant to note that Tacitus was no friend of Christianity, and yet his records corroborate the biblical account of Jesus' crucifixion. Shifting our gaze to Josephus, a Jewish historian who lived just a few decades after Jesus' death, we find more compelling evidence. In his book Antiquities of the Jews, Josephus mentions Jesus, describing him as a wise man, a doer of wonderful works, and a teacher of men who receive the truth with pleasure. He even refers to Jesus' crucifixion and subsequent resurrection, a central belief of Christianity. Now you might be thinking, all right, these sources confirm Jesus existed, but why do they suggest he was more than just a teacher? Well, to answer that, consider this. These accounts don't merely describe Jesus as a wise man or a profound teacher. They highlight his influence, his ability to draw crowds, perform miracles, and most importantly, his crucifixion and alleged resurrection. These are not typical traits of an ordinary teacher. Moreover, these accounts come from individuals outside of Jesus' circle of followers. They had no reason to embellish his story, yet their records align with the biblical depiction of Jesus. So, as we can see, even the historical evidence points to Jesus being more than just a teacher. But what does the Bible say about this? The Bible, the most widely read book in history, has quite a lot to say about Jesus. It's brimming with accounts that paint Jesus as far more than just a teacher. Let's take a closer look. In the New Testament, we come across numerous instances of Jesus performing miracles. He turns water into wine, feeds thousands with a few loaves of bread and fish, walks on water and heals the sick. These aren't the actions of a mere teacher. They're the actions of someone with a power far beyond the ordinary. Jesus also makes several claims to divinity throughout the Bible. In the Gospel of John, for instance, he famously declares, "I and the Father are one." This statement, among others, indicates a distinct identity that transcends the role of a simple teacher. But perhaps the most significant event is his resurrection. After being crucified and buried, Jesus rises from the dead, as reported in all four Gospels. This extraordinary event is not merely a metaphor or a spiritual lesson, but a tangible demonstration of Jesus' unique identity and power. So when we delve into the pages of the Bible, we encounter a Jesus who is not just imparting wisdom or moral teachings. We meet a Jesus who performs miracles, claims divinity, and rises from the dead. The Bible then presents a Jesus who is far more than merely a teacher. He's portrayed as a miracle worker, a fulfiller of prophecy, and even as God himself. So, what have we learned today? We've delved into the common perception of Jesus as merely a teacher. Then we unpacked the historical evidence that presents him as a figure of immense influence. We explored the biblical accounts that further underscore his significance beyond pedagogy. As we've seen, the evidence suggests that Jesus was indeed more than just a teacher. He was a figure of profound influence and significance both in his time and for billions of people today.